Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We're on episode 131 right here out of the rail in Fort Worth, Texas. And I'm excited today. We have a new artist to me, and I'm kind of excited because I love that that's a part of this gig is to get to meet artists that I haven't heard before. And I'm excited. But today we have Lenolavish. That's correct, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna start right off the bat, just wanting to get to know you and how you kind of started all this. But what's the origin of Lenolavish? I saw the first release was back in 2019, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've been doing this for longer than that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so man, my name is Lenolavish. For the people who don't know me, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. That's where I grew up at, and I've been doing music for 6 years.
Okay.
And so back in high school, I was doing music, but it was you know how you make the music and then you start listening to it and it's I need to do some more work. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta put some more work in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that happened. And then that's why I say 2019.
Okay.
But I've been making music for a long time, since 2017.
Kind of just dabbling all into it. But 2019 is when you decided to do your first release and kind of commit to it a little bit?
Exactly. That's when I said, you know what? This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And 2017, it started out in high school, and this when I was in Atlanta.
Okay.
So it kind of jumps a little.
So
bit.
You moved from
Mississippi
to Atlanta. Okay,
yeah.
to Georgia. Yeah, okay.
And in Jackson, I will say the inspiration started when I was little. Mm-hmm. And what I mean is, I was watching the VMAs. I was in middle school, bro.
Yeah.
I seen Lil Wayne. He was performing at the VMAs. This one, this was his time. This one, he was just hot. That had to be 2009.
So Carter 3.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Killing it, bro.
Yeah.
So I watched it and I was I just seen him perform, bro. I remember everything.
Yeah.
He had on. Let me tell you, he had on these leopard pants, these Vans. This was the whole truck fit era. This was when they were judging him and stuff like that, just why his pants so tight, the whole 9 yards. But bro, I was literally watching it and I was I want to do that.
Yeah,
I want to perform. He makes me want to perform. So that's where that came from, as far as just showing that it was in me when I was younger. You know what I mean? So after that, I going all the way to me getting older or whatnot. So when I was in Mississippi, This was still middle school with the whole VMAs or whatnot. Yeah. With Lil Wayne. So I'm listening, just writing. My mom didn't even notice. I was writing in I had a little notebook. I was writing, let me tell you, trash.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
But it got you going. It got you writing.
Just showing that it was in me.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying? So just to skip over that, just to go to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Atlanta changed my whole just mind frame as far as being creative. So when I was back home in Mississippi, it was being in Jackson, Mississippi is small. So it's very sheltered. You don't really get that chance to figure out if you're really creative or see really what you like, because down there it's really just football, basketball, and if you don't do that, then so in the immediate areas, no one kind of doing the stuff that you think might be popular. Exactly. Or even let's say what you just saw, in that VMA performance, be no one around here, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know
it's
that.
no type of just creation. No, you're not seeing that where I was.
Yeah,
we grew up in the hood, stuff like that. So we just seen just the typical hood stuff, just everybody running around, having fun, just doing whatever, but not and playing basketball and football, but not. I didn't have nobody that was making music or creating clothes, stuff like that. So once I got from there, when I moved to Georgia, mind you, I was giving my mom hell,
really?
For that.
Oh no,
I think me and my sister, we both was giving my mom hell, bro.
Yeah,
because it was man, I don't want to move to a whole new place and a whole new school and stuff like that. So once we moved, and I went to this high school, Sandy Creek, and it just changed everything, man. I seen it's going to sound crazy, but I seen, to me where I'm from, all I seen was my skin color. But when I moved up there, I seen blacks, Mexicans, Asians, just everybody.
Atlanta's huge.
It is, man. And the school was so diverse. So like I wasn't used to that. So I was already a little uncomfortable. But once I made friends and stuff, I started seeing like, okay, then you start looking at their fashion. Then you start listening, okay, like I wonder what they listen to. Then they telling you, oh, I listen to Travis Scott. Oh, I listened to, mind you, back then, like this when they were like just starting, you know, Travis Scott, Migos, like all of them. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm listening to them, and I'm like, yo, we need to make music, man. Like, so me, Bloodshed Zion. Oh, that's another artist that's in Atlanta. One of my best friends, and it was another guy named Mundo. So we got in the studio one day, I came up with one song, they came up with one song. Yeah. And that was it. We got in there, started, rapping. It was fire. It was fire to me.
So it was literally just like, we should do this and just book a studio and let's figure it out?
Yes. And just to put it out there, this guy named Royale, his name Royale Lee, he was rapping first. He told us about the studio. So once we got in there, you know what I'm saying, he was the reason why we was even in there. You know what I'm saying? So once we got in there, we started rapping, that was it. Like, I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then I became in love with clothes and stuff like that. So,
yo, what's going on, guys? It's OC, your host for the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. And I know what you're saying. Another ad on this podcast. Yes, but this one, you can help support the podcast. You might be seeing these beautiful Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast hats here on the table, where they're not just for decoration. We're selling these hoes, okay? This podcast, I don't get paid for this, so I need some money. Let's try to do that again. Less desperate. These hats look very cool, and it would be very cool of you to buy one to put on your head and look even more cool than you already do, all right? If you want to tell people that you have impeccable taste, that you listen to all types of music, and you listen to the best podcast in the entire world or tri-state area, or maybe just this area here, this is the best podcast in this room, probably, then you should get one of these hats so that you can help support a local business and a local podcast, and so you can help support artists to come here and talk shit, okay? That's the whole point of this. But yes, go to NoiseROT.com to pick out your Chill Sounds and Breakdowns hat or other merch. We got stickers, we got pins, pick something up, and thank you for supporting the podcast. You're pinpointing all these moments, and it's really cool because like it definitely does reflect to like where you are now, but like the watching the Lil Wayne VMA performance, the move to Atlanta, and then just to the point where you're like walking in a studio and just like let's do this now. Definitely. You know what I mean? But because like a lot of like for like my personal experience, like going into the studio like took a lot for me when I decided, like when I was in a band, because that was like very daunting. But like in your case, you're like, I want to do this and we're gonna go do it now, kind of thing.
Yeah, man. It's like one of them things you realize that, okay, because when I was playing basketball, it was like too short. You know, around that time, like the coaches was kind of like, do you really think you're gonna, make it?
Oh,
really
trying to talk you out of it?
Bro, they were on my ass, bro. I was like, all right, I'm like, damn, I'm like, they got a point.
Like, I guess
short. So I was like, all right, cool. I gotta figure something out. And then before, like middle school wise, it was like football and stuff. I had like football dreams, but it was like, I don't know. I walked off. Football and basketball, I quit. Music, I never had that feeling of I need to stop.
Like the doubt of
the doubt. Never.
It feels like a familiar feeling, like of the of like, yeah, I'll do this. Like maybe you're good at it and you're like, I'll do it. I mean, I'm good at it, right? Or it'll pass the time, kind of thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, when you find the thing that's like that's your thing, it's like, oh, like that doesn't even go through your head of like, I need to. Or what happens when I don't do this or stop or this and that.
Literally, bro.
Yeah, it's an interesting like moment, like to have those, and it's funny because I had the same thing with like sports, because that was my whole life, because it was like football, and then I was trying to just figure out any like type of sports to be in, because like there's, at least for me at the time, there's blueprints for that. Like people do this. Oh, okay, you play all through like your school years, then you go on and play more. Then there's like there's a way you can follow to it. So it's easy, but like even like being an artist or doing that, there's not quite the same trajectory that you can, because it's hard to train creativity. I think like there's not like a training manual for it. Like with sports and stuff. Like there's not to say that it doesn't take a little bit other. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm not like an athlete like that, but yeah, I feel like it's more common for people to take the same route. I mean, not everybody makes it, but like there's still like ways that you can go. But a creativity, like, and depending on where you want to go, and especially like even within like the community, the creativity like journey, there's not one way to do it. Like there's so many different ways like that people are creating like their own paths. Like it's not just like, oh, well, this is what that artist said, let me do this. Like you can, if you have a weird idea to like what people consider weird, and it's like, I'm going to try it this way. I mean, you've seen people like have just great successes with that. Like I think I was like, I forgot. I think I can't remember what song it just was. Oh, when Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem dropped that one song, I can't remember the name of it now. But Tyler Creator was talking about it. I know you're talking about and he was like, I love that he's still like being weird and making weird voices and stuff like that. Like stuff that maybe people are like, that's not gonna work, like, and making it work or figuring out how to make it work and just trying new stuff. Exactly. Like is the most exciting part of it. And it's super great that you have like those moments that led up to that, and now you're just like, no, this is what I'm doing. Literally, man. It's like this is it. And the point that you made is, as far as like those little things, like it matters. Like the ad libs, the crazy noises in the background, it matters, man. Like I love being in the studio, and I just get to that zone of sometimes you don't know what you're gonna say. You just, especially when it comes to ad libs and stuff like that, you're just saying shit, man. Like, but it's a feeling. Like that's what people need to understand when it comes to music, man. It's a feeling. Like to some people, it might be like, what is he saying, or why did he make this sound? But somebody else is like, bro, that fit perfectly. Yeah, this and that. Like that's the beauty of music, and that's why it's just in me. I love it. Like I wouldn't trade it for nothing, man. Like. It's so much like people don't understand when it comes to music. Now, like this is my life. So when I didn't did a lot in the past like 3 years, stuff that I didn't even think that I could do. Okay. Or just certain rooms I didn't think I would be in, certain performance slots I didn't think I would get. I had a feeling that like, okay, I want to do it. Yeah. But the chances of people responding, the chance of people getting back to you like, hey, yeah, like, let's do it. I'm more in the underground field. Okay. And so it's like big artists in the underground field like D Savage and a lot of festivals and stuff like that I was a part of. And I'm in the back with these artists. Yeah. And it's like, yo, and it's just me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, am I in the industry? I had to ask myself that. Yeah. Like, am I in the music industry? Like, am I doing it? And then you work so hard and you grind throughout your personal life that you forget that, like, bro, like you have this too, and you're doing it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's a weird feeling. It's like it don't feel like you're doing it, but that feeling is it's very. No, it's very real when you realize, like, is this like what what is? And then it's man, I have a friend who always is the one that like every like we talk like once every few months, and every time he's the one that brings me back and being like, dude, you're because I'm always saying like, I want to be this type of person, this type, this, I'm gonna do these things, and he's like, you're doing that, like now, like you're in, and it takes a minute. He's just like, yeah, you're right, and it's just I don't know if it's like part of like. Part imposter syndrome, part I just want to keep building, so it's never gonna be like where I'm like feel okay with it, like. But it is important to have those moments where you do reflect back and be like, nah, man, like 3 years ago, me 4, whatever. He's like would want to be here, like in this spot that I am, and they'd be happy like to be here. So that's a good sign, what I mean. So it's always like. Standing away from the picture and like seeing like, oh, we've came far, we've come far a little bit. Yeah, that definitely is super important. How did you were talking? Well, I want to get to this. You were talking about like how you feel. It's a feeling like in the studio. Do you have a typical approach that you take when you go in there? Like, is there a plan? Like, do you listen to beats before? Like, how does this go? Everyone's got a different, so I'm always fascinated. Yes, man, it's always a plan. Typically, I'm not the artist that goes in and just say, let's find a beat
and I'm gonna just say whatever on my mind.
Yeah.
I just don't like that. Like, before I even get there, I write it. Like, I write all my songs. And in the process of it, I like to go over the songs before I get in the studio. I do it probably like 30 times, bro. Like,
really?
I'm re-rapping my songs 30 times, just in my room, in the living room, just walking around, just rapping it. Like, because before I get in the studio, I just want to make sure at least I don't mess up a lot. So once I get in there, I always want to make sure like it's professional. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I'm
okay.
really huge on that. Like, I don't want to waste the engineer time, and I don't want to waste my time because it costs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, once I get in there, okay, they always commend me on, like, I just do one take. And, you know, obviously if I mess up or if I feel like I stuttered a little bit, then I'll tell me, like, let's go back here or whatever. But they always like the fact that I'm always prepared, because they always telling me stories about how people just come in and they want to book a all-day session and then make like 2 songs and just sit around, smoke, eat, talk, laugh. But it's like, man, I'm trying to, let's get to work.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you got the money to spend on the whole day of recording and get 2 songs and be good with that, like, that's a luxury. Like, I could never afford, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
like,
man.
Yeah. I was gonna ask. So you go to like a studio to record. So that's a big deal. Like, if you don't have a way to, like, I mean, only like if you're doing it yourself, will I give you the leeway of, like, all right, you have the time to do that because it's on your time, saying whatever.
Exactly.
But even then, you know, but yeah, if you're going into like an engineer that you want to work with, then it's like you got to be in there ready to work. So like that song should like have most of the piece. If you want to come up with stuff, because I've seen, like I said, like when I was in a band, like, I pictured songs being written a certain way. And I was very, like, closed-minded, and I didn't really know that I was. Because I would picture songs, I'm like, this is the way you write songs. You know, this is the way it makes sense. This is the way it makes sense in my head. So that's got to be how everybody does it. And then I've sat in a few of, like, my friends' studio sessions and just seen the way they write. I'm like, oh, I would never have thought, like, to hit it up that way. But I have a friend who I saw do like a session, and he came in and he's like, I got 3 beats and I have like some skeletons of an idea of what to do. And I'm like, we're gonna be here for a while, you know what I mean? Which is fine. We were doing it in a home studio, you know what I mean? So and I was just sitting in there, so I'm like, oh, you know, he's got the time. And in a few hours he had 3 songs done. And I'm like, how did you, it's like, did you, like, you didn't have anything written? And he's like, yeah, the idea was there. Like, I just kind of figured it out. I'm like, all right, well, you work that way, but I don't.
Literally,
but like I said, so like people like have different experiences to that. But me, I'm that type where I'm like, I need to make sure that this song is like done. Like, if I want to improvise some stuff, most of the time I have tried that already.
Exactly.
And I'm like, we will try it in here, but like I have tested the waters on that a little bit.
Exactly.
But because for me, like, it's just nerve wracking. Like, I'm like, sitting in there with somebody hitting record and being like, oh, do it again, or like, oh, like, it's just so frustrating.
It's frustrating.
And then it just makes it like more nerve wracking and more nervous. Then I feel like I start messing up more. Then I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. So being prepared, I think, is like a great strategy for most things.
Definitely, man. That literally happened to me when that happened to me recently, actually. I went over that song like 50 times before I got to the studio, man. This was like Thanksgiving, like last year Thanksgiving, when we went to go visit the family or whatever.
Yeah.
I went, man, and it was just this one song that, like, it just wasn't connecting.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, we're gonna skip over that one. Like, I gotta, when I come back, I got you.
Yeah.
Like, I just went with the other songs that I knew that, like, all right, it's gonna sound right, stuff like that. So yeah, it can be nerve wracking, man. So I like to be prepared before I get in there. So
yeah, I think most people follow that strategy. Well, I mean, I think because, I mean, one thing you brought up is the money thing. Like, studio time is expensive. Like, so if you're walking in there, and then depending on what type of studio you go to, you know, like if you're paying by the hour, then you got to make sure your shit is tight. But like, I remember when we recorded our first EP, we paid by the song, and this dude regretted it, I bet. Like, because I didn't go prepared, and we took a long time getting this album together, or this EP together. It was 5 songs, and it took way longer. And he was like, I bet he's mad he didn't charge by the hour right now. But Yeah, that's the thing. But you were talking about the stuff you recorded. Was that what you released back in November, or was it like future songs?
Future songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 'cause I got some songs that I'm finna record like next week, sometime around next week.
Okay.
Because I'm getting ready to drop an EP, and it's gonna be called Visionary Volume 3.
Volume 3, because
Yes.
Volume 2 that's the one that just dropped in
Yes.
November. Okay.
Yes. So,
What making the volume, because you have like I think like 2 other projects that dropped that aren't like part of the volume set.
Yeah.
Like what makes them part of the volume set, I guess? Is there a particular reason?
Really is like a mixtape. I look at it like a little small mixtape.
Okay.
Like just songs that that I feel like when I find that beat and I feel like I can just rap. Like I just want to rap.
Okay.
Like just get in there, say what's on my mind, go off. I like that's what I put with the Visionary Volume 1, 2, and 3. So for this one, with 3, it's just straight rap.
Okay.
Like just going straight in, getting straight to it. And then the next project, I like to drop the next project would be like, that's what I would call the album.
Okay.
Which is where it's going to be not just rap, just like very diverse. Pop. I wanna incorporate some rock, man. Like I got a song called Bet on Me. It's like it's a rap, but it had that rock sound to it, like that beat, and I was just going crazy. I just want to put all that together, man. Just so people can see that I can go any lane. Like I love all genres of music, bro. Like I want to go any lane.
It's really like fun to see those, like hear those tracks that like blend in genre bend. Like the idea, like I mean maybe like years ago where like genre bending would like people hate on it and be like, oh well that's not supposed to be in this. Like I pretty much love any song that like gets thrown something like that. It's like, oh that's not supposed to be in there. But you make it work, you know what I mean? But it just causes like new ideas. Like I always because I played in a metal band, but there was like I remember seeing like the community of like metalheads who were just like purists, for lack of a better word, where they were like, I'm only listening to this, type of metal, and I play this type of metal, and I'm like, that sounds boring. Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like, because after a while, you're gonna end up writing the same song, over and over, because you're not getting inspired with like other stuff, dude. I picked up inspirations like from tons of different artists. Like, I mean, I grew up listening to very like Mexican Spanish like ballads, and I like when I was in a metal band, like the singing parts that I put, like I'm gonna throw some of that in there because why not? Who can? That's because it makes sense when you're like, well, where did it come from? It's like that's what I listen to over here. Like, and you pick something out. Like I love it's kind of a bad trait sometimes, but like I love picking out where like that part of the song sounds like this over here, and I don't ever assume like people are copying stuff. I just assume like people listen to so much music that it all bleeds in there and blends together. But I feel like you'd be foolish not to use every one of those like inspirations outside into your own music. Where it fits, where it makes sense. Exactly. Like if you can make it work, then that's just more power to you, man. Right, because that's all it is. It's inspiration. Like I mine's go far, man. Like it was one time even when I was little. Like I was born in 99. I downloaded Tupac album. I don't even know what album it was, to be honest, but I downloaded his album because I was like, bro, these songs is hard. Like, and I was in my room, little, like just rapping his songs, bro, like finding ways to download it. So I like him, Kanye, Lil Wayne. That's number one for me. Like that's just one of my huge inspirations, man. Like I would love to do a song with Lil Wayne. Like, that'd be crazy. That's a crazy feature. Yeah, that would do it for me. Like, so it's him, Travis Scott. Even goes from just to go from hip hop. Lady Gaga. Like I love her music. I love her like performances. Like I study her performances. Bro. Michael Jackson. I study his performances. Even to now, Travis, obviously, Playboy Cardi. Like I just see like, cause that it just fits me. You know what I mean? Like that just rock out. Like just be you when you get on that stage. Like don't be nervous. Like when you go out there, like just this is what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's meant for you. Yeah. So I just watch artists like that and just see that growth, and I say, okay, like this makes sense what I'm doing. Like I just go from there, bro. Do you face any like apprehension from like people in like like your community or like your circles of like any pushback of you trying to do like that type of genre band? Is there anybody like telling you like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, sometimes it's more so of like they might like, because a lot of times it comes from them just not getting it. So they might be like, you know, why you made it sound like this, or like, where did this come from, or you should do this. Sometimes it's a lot of you should do this, and it's more of like, nah, man, I just want to. I want to do what I want to do. Like I'm not going to be fake. I'm not going to try to. All right, they said this, so now I got that leads to overthinking. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, okay, you know, take in information here and there, listen to it, and then just say, okay, well, if I like it, it's a stand. But if it's something like, okay, well, let's see what he's talking about. Then I'll go from there. But 9 times out of 10, especially just now with the mode I'm in, man, like I'm confident in myself. I feel like when I drop it, it's because I really like it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I love it. So
that's a very like simple concept that I remember. It's one of the things like all these like lessons I've learned as I've gone like through life when I was doing music and stuff like that, was that simple thing is like I should like what I put out. Yeah. And it was weird because like towards the end of the band, like it makes sense like why, like, you know, we fell apart, but towards the end I was like, I'm not the biggest fan of like this stuff, and I'm like, and I should be. Right. So that's why I'm like, oh, okay, so it makes sense, you know, that, you know, we ended up, you know, splitting up, but I'm like, yeah, like I should be very like excited about all the stuff that I'm putting out like all the time. Like it should just be something that like I myself, yes, I'm gonna play this shit in the car when we're in there, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, make everybody like listen to it, like who's coming in, like, you know, I want like that type of feeling with every, and then that's just like how I try to take everything that I do from then on. When I made that realization, I was like, oh, okay, like that means I got to take that same energy and apply to everything that I do creatively. Exactly. Like, yes, I got to be proud of everything that I'm putting out. Exactly. Yeah.
And I want people to understand, don't lose that feeling. Like when you feel like this song is like, when you're excited about it, keep it that way. Like it's the reason why. You never know. Like that could be the song that works for you. Like just keep it going, even if it don't do certain numbers and stuff like that. Like still have that confidence because you made it at the end of the day. Like you took time out to go create that song, and it's not easy making songs. Like a lot of people think that it's easy being an artist, bro. It's not. Like, you have to literally. It has to be like you have to be a creative, like. To be able to break down and do bars and all this stuff, man, that takes a lot of work. So don't get discouraged because somebody else might not like the song. Like you might like the song a lot, but this other person like, I don't like this song, or this trash. Yeah. It's like, nah, bro. Like just stick to it. If you really believe in it, you can do it. Like keep it going. Don't worry about what these people, you know, have to say, because at the end of the day, it's just an opinion. Yeah. Like,
I mean, odds are that, I mean, not all, it's a reality. Like someone is not going to like, you know, what you put out. Like, and it will be like multiple people, and there's nothing you can do about that. At the end of the day, the only thing you control is like what you put out. Are you happy with that? Does that make you feel good? Cool. Then that's all you need. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and on the other side is like you do want to keep a certain like group and people who are going to be honest with you and be like, and most of the time that's just people who are like, maybe you could like listen to this again, but it's trusted people, and it's people who you always want to have. People in that circle need to be people that you respect their opinions, not people that you are like hoping just like it. Like you got to be sure if like you're showing something, depending on how, like, because I've had people like send me songs and like just I've gotten to it's like, oh, I just want you to listen to this, so I'm just like, all right, I'll listen to it, and if it's not like, if it's something that's like, oh, I don't love this, I'm like, oh, let me find something that I like in this. Yeah, I'm not gonna offer critique because first of all, I'm not part of the creative process here. Like, so what you're showing me a song, my first thing is going to be like, you know what, you should change this. Like, I know how I would feel if that's like the first reaction. I'm like, I don't need to hear that. You know what I mean? But but I've also had people be like, hey, here's a song, will you critique it for me? And I'm just like, okay, like, and I'm just like, I'm not an expert or anything. I'm like, just going to be like, oh, this is what I like, you know, or maybe something like this, blah, blah, blah. But depending, if people are coming to me with a critique request, then it's like, okay, they're trusting my opinion on something. So that means also I need to pay attention to the song and like put in the effort to be like, all right, not just say whatever or just say like, oh yes, I love it or whatever. Because I do this, so I tell my friends a lot of like, dude, like I support like all of y'all doing the music, the art, everything you want to do. Is like, I don't like all of it. He's like, and that's just truth. You know what I mean? That's not a bad thing. But you know, like I'm not gonna say anything or do anything to hinder your movement forward. Because I've had like the idea of starting off fresh and being good at something is like really like rare. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be bad like at first. You know what I mean? When it comes to like little like writings on a notepad at first and being like, damn, this sucks. But you know what? Somebody's doing. You're doing it.
Exactly.
You know, you're doing it there. Putting out a first song and not being your best. I mean, going back to your like first song. Like, how do you feel about that song now, based on the stuff that you're releasing now?
Exactly. So when I go back to the song now, it's like, wow, man.
Yeah.
Like what a difference in just the sound, just how I sound on the song. Like now listen to the different beats that I've chose. Like it just shows that like always be like what we've been talking about, be open-minded pretty much. Yeah. Like just as far as like you say, like if you have some real ones on your side that's gonna let you know like, hey, like this song, you know, just it sound like this. Or it could be just little stuff like it doesn't sound like I don't hear you, or you don't set like your delivery, like stuff like that. I love hearing stuff like that because it lets me know like, okay, like get in there and make this song like you want to get out. You know,
sometimes
what I mean?
Sometimes you're listening to the thing like over and over again, so you're like, what is it? It's called like ear fatigue or whatever, where you're just like, oh, like I hear it this way, and sometimes you're not even hearing it anymore. You just like know the way it should go, so that's the way it's sounding in your head, and then someone fresh ears like comes up and be like, oh, like there's this happening in it, or what, you know, what if you did this? And like, you don't have to take all this feedback and use it, like, but you have it, you know what I mean? Exactly. Like, oh, this is how this person like received it. And at the end of the day, like once you put out a song, like you have no control of how everybody's gonna interpret it, receive it, what they're gonna hear, what they're gonna pay more attention to, whether it's lyrics or whether it's just like the vibe of the song. I'm become like, it's weird. Like when I was younger, I was the one that was like, I needed to look up all the lyrics to all the songs that I was listening to before like I was playing stuff, or like as soon as like I kind of like something, I was like, I need to know what this dude's saying. Right. As I've gotten older, like I'm just vibing out to a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, it happens a lot. Like we'll go to me and my fiance will go to concerts, and then like she's singing the words, and I'm like, that's what he's saying. Like I was just vibing, man. Like, but again, like the artist doesn't control what I'm gonna like pay attention to. Like, you know, they'll put their focus on stuff, but so you got to make peace with that. But you can take criticism and just you decide what to do with that. You know what I mean? And instead, like if you're taking criticism from someone that doesn't matter to you, then that means don't let that get to you. Like just keep doing it.
Because that's the thing about being an artist. Listen, it's not going to be just a breeze. Like you're gonna go in there. It's gonna be stages where they love you. Gonna go in there, it's gonna be stages where they're just standing there just looking at you like, I don't know you, so I don't know if I like it or if I don't like it. Like that's just the tough part about it. But like I said, if you're an artist, you have to be willing to accept all that. That's what comes with being in this field. So it's like you gotta accept the good with the bad. Like sometimes it's gonna be artists that got egos. You know, you might, oh man, I open for you, and they're like, okay, just like any other artist that, you know, that's just how they view it. So you have to accept that. But you also have going across good artists that's like, man, like, bro, that's what's up, bro. Like, keep going. Like, you can do it. You know, sometimes you just need like that little spark, just something to let you know that like you're doing good or you're doing a great job. Like, just keep it up, keep going. Because on my end, it's like like what I do, like it's blurred lines, like at times, like, cause I was working this job, right? And putting in the hours, man, like working so hard, like just to, you know, make the money, pay the bills, the whole 9 yards. And you go so hard for it, and then it's like they had fired me. Wow. And they fired me over something so small. It was like 15 minutes or something. Like I clocked out 15 minutes earlier, and I worked there for like 2 or 3 years. Wow. Just for them, just something small like that, I said, wow, you know what? Am I going to beat myself up? Or am I going to say, hey, maybe God is telling you, bro, this is what you need to be doing. Like, what's going on in your hair right now? Yeah. Because what's going on in my hair right now is music. Like, that's all I'm thinking about. Like, in the midst of me getting fired, in the midst of me working, in the midst of me just working so hard for them, it's music in my head. It's me like, man, I can't wait to perform again.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go to the studio. So that's what I took. I took that and I ran with it, and I said, you know what? I want to make music. You know what? I'm mad that this happened, but you know what? Let me go write some songs. Like, let me take it out on that. Like, instead of taking it personal.
Yeah.
Like, just going in there and let me prove to the world, like, this is what I'm meant to do. Because no matter what you do, like, whatever you're supposed to do, the universe is going to find a way for you to do that.
Yeah.
Like, so whether it's a job or whether it's something else that you're doing, like, if you know in your heart, like, what your field is, that's what it's going to be. Like, the universe is going to say, this is not going to work out for you because, like, this is what you have. Like, this is for you. So that's how I look at it, man.
The right push from the universe. Yeah, like I've had those, and I've like it was a long time before I started accepting that. Was like, yeah, sometimes, you know, like there's the whole, like, all these things, like, they used to sound like super like corny to me or like cheesy, where it's like, oh, you know, like things happen for a reason and stuff like. But I'm like, yeah, they really do. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And sometimes it's the push that maybe you're not willing to take, and you realize sometimes, the universe is just gonna kick you. Like, if you're not trying to jump, like, or make the jump. So it's like, hey, like, we'll offer like the little push, and then you're like, all right, cool. Like, now, like, I do this now, and then you start realizing, like, what opportunities you would have missed out on had you, you know, in that, you know, in the short term, you were like, damn, like, I'm out of a job. Yeah. If you would have kept that job, you know, these doors would have never opened, or you would have just never passed by them.
Exactly.
So yeah, you have to take that into account. But you're mentioning fashion, and I have noticed, like, I went through your Instagram feed and seeing, like, I'm like, I could tell, like, oh, there's something like here where, like, you're interested in, like, the way, like, you're very well, like, put together when you put, like, your outfits on and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but you were talking about it with, like, mentioning in fashion, like, is that when did that start becoming, like, an important, like, thing to you?
Man, so that started in high school when I was in Atlanta. So I started seeing, like, the different styles or whatnot, and I just started seeing how people, you know, just seeing how people were dressing and whatnot. And then in that time, in that era, like A$AP Rocky, Kanye, like, all that kind of started. So I started looking at it and I'm like, man, I want to do this, man. Like, these clothes, like, that's when I realized that, like, what you wear is like an expression too. That's when I caught on to that. Like, okay, what you wear is an expression. Because back home, we didn't really have that. Like, I had, like I said, I was a huge fan of Lil Wayne. So I was trying to mimic, like, truck fit. At the time, that's what we had. So I was like, all right, we can't really afford, like, his clothes necessarily around that time. But, like, I noticed he wearing crazy socks. So, like, I'm finna go to the store and buy all the crazy socks. And at the time, I used to play football and everything, so I used to wear all, like, it was just little things like that that made me feel like, okay, I'm doing something different. You know, I feel like it's right, so I like it, I'm gonna do it. And then going back to high school, yeah, like I said, man, A$AP Rocky, Kanye, that's when I got addicted to fashion, bro. I started looking at it and I'm like, yo, that's nice, man. Like, that's, like, just seeing the confidence. Yeah. And just seeing, like, how it made them feel and hearing them talk in interviews, it's like, exactly, like, hell yeah, man. Like, this is how I feel. Like, when I want to walk out and go to an art show or go to a music, a concert or something like that, like, you want to feel good. Like, you want to, everything has to make sense. And that's why it's great being an artist, because, like, all of that has to make sense, bro. Like, it's so cool to me, bro. Like,
almost like, I mean, it goes at first, I used to be very against the idea of like branding yourself as an artist, like having to dress, but there's the key word. So it was like having to have this look, to be this type of artist. And I was always opposed to it because I never thought that I fit the look for whatever I was doing. To the point where I've said this story before, but actually it was here. There was like this battle of the bands that happened, and we were a band dropped, and we didn't even like want to do the battle, but they were like, we need somebody to do it last minute. Do you mind just hopping on just so we can fill the time? And we're like, sure. But there was a label guy here, and the whole thing was like, if you won, they did some sort of like deal with like the label where they would offer like some sort of like mentoring program or something. And I was just like, I don't care for that right now. Like, I don't need it or whatever. Wasn't looking for it. But they gave each of the bands like they would give you like a consultation here, like at the venue when we played. And we played, and they were like, yeah, you know, like, it's like the music's really good, like I really like it, blah, 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 this stuff. He's like, but he's like, yeah, you guys really just don't have the look for like the music you're playing. And I'm like, the fuck does that mean?
Right.
Then and he was basically, he's like, yeah, like, you're not gonna make it in this genre, like, unless, you know, two of us, he's like, unless you two like lose a lot of weight. Like, and I was like, yeah,
like, bro,
this is like, yeah, this is a while ago. But I'm like, I didn't even want to do this, and now like I'm getting fat shamed.
Like, I'm just getting hit.
I was just like, yeah, I was like, what? I didn't even want to be here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I thought I was fun. But a lot of that stuff like put me off of like even thinking of myself being able to wear anything that made me like feel like almost like empowered in a way to wear like stuff that I feel like I want to wear. I'm like, I can't wear that, you know what I mean? Or I can't be as, because I like same thing, like I have influences like in artists be like, that looks really cool, you know, that looks really, actually, and I did this recently where it was like there's an artist named Ando-san, and he played a tour that came by that we booked, and I was looking, I'm like, that dude's got really cool style. So then I was just like, I'm just gonna start copying that. Like, but I was more like now, like in the moment where I'm like, oh, I could do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can do that. But before I'm like, I gotta wear what's available. You know what I mean? Like there's no kind of way around it. Or like, again, like seeing people step out of that show, like artists and stuff like that. I was like, and I'd be like, well, they can do that. Like they're at that fame where who cares? They can do whatever they want. But you realize that these people like were doing it forever. Like they were just, that was their thing. Like they were just like, oh, like I'm just gonna be this person, and if people like mock it, like they're gonna mock it until they are themselves like wearing the same shit or trying to like copy like the culture, you know what I mean? But that's what it takes. It takes a few people to be like, just what if we just did this, and then push you know, push the envelope, push whatever, like. And I mean, that's how like fashions move forward. Like I don't, again, and it goes the same hand in hand with like the way I like see music. I'm like, I don't understand all of it. I go, but that doesn't mean like if I don't understand, it's just not for me. But obviously it's working over here, you know, someone else is able to own it.
Because at the end of the day, man, it's whatever, you know, when it comes down to fashion now, man, it's whatever makes you comfortable. Like that's, I believe in that too. Like you don't have to always go all out or feel like, man, this doesn't look right, or thinking about what other people are going to wear, especially when it comes to like fashion shows and stuff like that. Like a lot of time they be overdoing it. Like it be over the edge, like just to, you know, but that's just to get people talking and stuff. But at the same time, like just be comfortable, like wear what you want to wear. Like it don't always have to be something just so crazy. It could be like, just like I like to call stuff when you feel like you chilling, cozy. Like just cozy vibes. Like it's just cozy fit, you know, hoodie, like cozy fit right now. Like hoodie, beanie, I'm chilling. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I still feel fly, still look fly. Like even if I'm not even trying, even if I am trying, like I know I like what I have on. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, that's what it's like. It's like when I have a show or when I'm going to a festival or something like that, that's when I'm like, all right, like, this when you got, you know, put that shit on, because, you know, it just make me feel good, you know what I mean? But outside of that, I be chilling, sweats, you know, just stopping here and there, like not, you know, dressing crazy. So
what's weird, it's weird because you, as an artist, like anytime you're out, especially like if you're out like at a music, like if you're going to a concert, stuff like that, like you're not just a concert goer, like you're an artist at a concert goer. So like the way, again, like you won't even think, but like someone would be like, ain't that, you know, it's like, ain't that Leno over there? And it's like, okay, what do you got on? Like, if that's part of who you are, like that will become a part of your artistry. And I and even again, like for me, and it's weird, I still like haven't come to terms with it, but like people will come up to me that I don't know, and I'm like, and sometimes I'm like, I've gotten caught where I'm just like sloppy as fuck, and I'm just like, and it took a few times, and I'm just like, I just can't do that. Like, I gotta like, and I'm like, I'll give myself some leeway. Like if I'm, you know, not all the time, but like if I'm going to a show, I need to make sure that I like am presentable enough to where like if an opportunity comes like by, or like an artist wants to talk, or I happen to meet somebody, that I feel comfortable and confident enough to like, oh, okay, like I am like who I am. Because again, like that's who I am. Like when I'm going to those places, like I need to make sure that aligns itself in the same way, and I, like present it that way. But yeah, it is another level to have to think that way in terms of fashion. And it's like I said, sometimes I get it, but like there's this guy I follow. What's his? his name's Wisdom, who does like fashion content, and he's just like a regular dude. And I remember like starting to follow him, and he was like, he explained his journey or whatever. But I remember when I was watching him, he was like doing runways, making his own runways in like parking lots and putting fits together, like fire. And I'm like, I was like, oh, he must be like super big already. He's like, no, I was just taking whatever I had and making it like what I wanted. And now like the dude gets like crazy stuff sent to him, and he'll like put it on and do like crazy like fits to it.
Yeah.
But then he's like, no one's wearing this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but it is a fashion thing. I go, but this is too expensive. It's not affordable. And then he goes like, oh, okay, these are my normal fits, like on day to days. But just the range of that to me is just again another one. It's kind of like seeing a musician start off small and then get big. Like that's what it felt like with like seeing him. I'm like, that's really fucking cool. Like you can take whatever, and I like that in this day and age that we live in. Like you can take a lot of the shit that you just love doing and make something out of it, as long as you push, as long as you love it and keep doing it. Like I think, and it all comes back to like what we were talking about with like authenticity and just being real. Like if you're real to yourself, like you will come up with something that like leads you down a path. It's just like it's just fun, and most of the time it leads to success, because you again, if you love doing it, you're gonna do it over and over and over again. Again, those little sounds, the ad-libs, the stuff that you take time to be like, this needs to sound like this. Like, if you love doing that, then again, you're gonna pay attention to those. You keep doing it, yeah.
And going back to what you said, man, like even for me, like when I go to the shows or like go to concerts here and there, because I've been in Dallas for like 2 years now, 2 or 3 years now, something like that. Yeah, I'm still fresh, but yeah, man. I've been doing like ever since I got down here, doing a lot of shows, a lot of openers and stuff like that. So once I'm going to these festivals and I'm here and there or whatever, and it's like people knowing who I am, stuff like that, it kind of freaks you out a little bit. Yeah. You know, I don't have like 100,000 followers or something like that. So it's like, man, like in my head, I'm like, man, you know who I am? Like, you know this song, or like you. Yeah. It's so crazy being an artist. I want people to understand, like, you could be overthinking everything. You could have a hard time at work, like working a 9 to 5, right? Or you could be laying down in your bed. All these examples is stuff that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? You don't know that it's people out here in Paris and all over the country in different states, like listen to your music in that moment. Yeah. Like you could be going through a lot of stuff, or you could be feeling down, or feeling like nobody's hearing it, or like, man, my listeners is, damn, man, I only got this many followers, or blah, blah. But all that matters is if you just have, like, I love that saying of like, bro, if just one person like it, bro. Like, that's something, like, because it's hard. It's people out here who don't get no love, no support, just that brings down their confidence a lot. Yeah. So when you got people like us, you know what I'm saying, have that love, or like just one or two, or pretty much more than that, honestly, of just coming up to us and saying, hey, I love what you do, or man, that song fire. Like, I was in my head like last week about something, bro, just personal, and then I got a DM, cause you know how like on Instagram now they have like the notes. Yeah. So they have like, when people, they'll like put songs up there, and then the guy had my song on there. And I didn't know him. And I seen it, bro, and I was like, that's what's up. Yeah. And then I had clicked on his profile, he followed me or whatever, and he was like, bro, I'm from Paris, bro, I love your music. Like, what the fuck? It's just crazy. I was like, bro, what? Like, people from different countries like listening in that moment of you probably down on yourself or feeling like, man, it's probably not good enough, or blah, blah, like, bro, once you get that should let you know right there, okay, like, I'm doing something. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So I have to, like, you have to keep going. So, and yeah, like, it just takes a handful of those people to just keep multiplying. You know what I mean? Like, I have seen some artists like lose sight of it sometimes and being like, oh, you know, I actually just had this talk with somebody else who, actually, my friend Hunter was on the podcast. He was like, yeah, like, man, we played shows in rooms with bands, and their band, like, I've seen them play, their band's called Bad Lives. I've seen them play to like big crowds. I've seen them play to like 2-3 people. Same show gets delivered to me every fucking time. And I'm like, dude, that's great. That's the way you should do it. But then he's like, yeah, we were running into people who were like, the room was packed, and then be like, damn, but it's not sold out. Like, I fucking don't want to play like right now. And I'm like, you have to like appreciate everyone because I say this so much, but like, it's so easy to do nothing.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's so easy, like, to not go out to a show. Like, people would just stay, like, to not listen to your music. To not, like, the fact that somebody is, like, again, pulling up, it is easy. Yeah, you pull up your phone, you start, play your song. Like, yeah, that is easy, but you can also play anything else. You can also not play anything. You can not go to shows. So if you see 1 to 2 people out there and they're seeing you, like, they deserve the same like energy that you were going to give an entire room crowd, because that, again, you give that energy to those people and that person goes and tells their friend and be like, next time come with me, you know what I mean? Or this and that. And those are the type of like relationships that you need to make in them. Those people coming up to you, and talking a little bit. Yes, I'm going to give you attention right now. Let's see, like, thank you. Like, you're listening to me, like, or, you support this. I go, you deserve, like, to me, with, again, within reason. I know, like, once you start getting bigger, like, it is hard, to talk to everybody or whatever. But, it's still, like, making sure to touch grass and appreciate that, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's not, again, what you're saying, like, that's not what everybody gets. Like, not everybody gets that support. And some people would, would love to have that one person that, like, lives, like, for this. Like, I just have one friend that, like, every so often will post, like, our music and stuff like that. We're not even a band anymore,
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool as fuck. I go, that's really, that's fun. And it's good to see. And then sometimes, again, like, people don't know, even as the artist, how you might be struggling with, like, damn, like, I've been working at this for, like, whatever, and maybe I'm not where I want to be, and you get one person to be like, man, your song, like, even it's like I'm listening to that right now, or this song did this for me, is enough to be like, all right, I'm fucking back on it, and I'm like, so it definitely means a lot, and I'm glad that I've, like, got to experience that and told, like, some of, like, my favorite artists to be like, hey, like, this song did this, you know what I mean, and a lot of, like, artists will just, like, not know, they'll go their whole lives, but it's really cool to be like, oh, your music, once it's out there, could be that, be that for somebody else,
Because I want people to understand, man, when you, especially like myself, right, being an upcoming artist, listen, it's going to be times where you get on that stage and it might be, you're going to be the opener. You might be the first one, you know what I'm saying? And it might not be a lot of people yet. It might be a line still outside, because I done been through that too. Like, lines still outside, ain't even in yet.
You played?
It's like, I got like 20, 30 people just, you know what I'm saying, just here. It doesn't matter, right? Like, you still want to put on a great performance. You still want to not feel like you're wasting these people's time. Like, you still want to, like, be grateful for it, because at least they're sitting there listening. Like, it's times where I've seen people opening and they're performing and everybody else is, like, just doing shit. Like, people over there drinking at the bar. You got people over here just talking and laughing. Nobody's listening to you. That's not a good feeling. Like, that makes you feel terrible. You know what I'm saying? It makes you doubt yourself a lot. So once you're in a position to where you notice that, like, okay, like, they're listening, they're bobbing their heads. Okay, well, every time I get off stage, somebody's walking up to me saying, bro, that song was fire. Hey, bro, what song that is? Man, bro, like, you killed it, bro. Like, so once I got just a little taste of that, and that was back in, like, Atlanta, when I, like, first started performing. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, I love this. Like, whether they hate it or love it, like, I love performing in general. So it's like, I'm going up there because I genuinely enjoy doing it. Like, it's not trying to get them to, you want them to like it now. You don't get me wrong. You want them to, like, bob their head and stuff. Now, you do. But at the same time, just as long as you're being yourself, that's what matters. And then just hopefully that they, gravitate to it. So,
So, I mean, as an artist, obviously, like, we've gone through, like, there's a lot of stuff you love about, like, the creative process, everything that you do. What out of, like, your, like, music journey have you, like, not enjoyed as much?
Oh my goodness, man. First, like, I start off, like, at home base, I say, like, writer's block.
Okay.
Like, I hate it, bro. Like, just when I'm in the process of, like, man, I need to write, and then it's like I can't get, it just ain't coming together for me, you know what I'm saying? So that's like something tough as an artist. Another thing is, like, just the industry itself. Okay. You start to see, like, what it really is, and like how it's really like a popularity contest. It's kind of like but it also, as far as the popularity contest, is also interesting how, like, this goes to upcoming artists. I want to make sure I keep saying that, because no matter the followers that they have, it don't matter. Like, you need a core fan base. Like you do. You need people that, like, you need a good amount of people that genuinely love your music. You know what I'm saying? Because it's people I didn't seen that had 1 million followers, 100,000 followers, 200, whatever, and they have like 50 people. Yeah. And it's like, you get there, that's when you start learning, and it's like, oh, like, okay, yeah, you got them on social media, but they're not coming out buying physical tickets. Yeah. You know what I mean? So once I realized that, I said, okay, I'm not going to get discouraged no more, like, as far as my followers, or as far as, like, man, I feel like it's not growing, or this or that. Like, let me, you know what, let me, like, just keep going. Just keep going. Don't think about nothing. As far as, you know, stuff that could trigger me to doubt myself. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna do this. Like, just, and so that's something. Ego. It's a lot of ego in the industry. It's a lot of ego. It's a lot of, like, just kind of looking at you if they feel like you're a nobody. So I that's something I don't like. But those are like the main big ones.
Yeah, most of the time it's like industry stuff. It's like the business side of it, and it's something that, like, I think every artist goes through and has to figure out how to navigate it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, like, you know, do you play the game? How, like, far do you play the game for? How far until you know, make your own rules to it and figure out what, like, because there's a lot of, like, different, like, not only controversy, but the popularity contest is one of them. Like, I mean, some, you know, promoters will play favorites and, you know, give different spots to different things. So man. It just, I mean, it happens, and there's one of, you know, tons of reasons why it happens. It's weird for like us. We started our own booking company, and coming from being an artist to booking company, like, I was like, how do we balance this? Because you know, like, we know as an artist, like, oh, what do we want? And then now figuring out, going through it as a business and being like, as booking, I was like, okay, like, we also have to balance, like, you know, we can't lose money, like, on all these like shows. Like, so how do we, like, do what's best for, like, an artist and still, like, you know, at the end of the day, like, try to, like, you know, make some money out of this? That's why, I mean, we're all putting in work for all this stuff, but it's a delicate balance. So you try to figure out. I think luckily most of us came from, like, the music scene, or being in a band, or just being part of shows. So we try to balance as well as we can, like, what we can do. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that just, like, you wish was just, like, a certain way. Like, I mean, I know, like, people bring up, like streaming and stuff like that, how like, you're basically, no one's getting paid off of, like, stuff being streamed. And I know it's, like, a giant, like, argument that happens with, like, artists. And like, I don't think I'm as informed on it as I should be, but I do see, like, the pro, like, I mean, well, like, now you can pretty much put your music up, like, whenever you want, like, and stuff, and it's easy for people to access. I go, so that's good. I go, but also, you know, artists, you basically at this point, like, aren't getting paid for putting out music, and it seems like on the outside, if you're not, like, an artist, it's like, well, yeah, you're putting out a music, I should just be able to, like, listen to it whenever. But then when you realize, like, oh, how much money did you put in to put this out? You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's not only, you know, studio time, it's artwork, it's, like, all the hours you put into actually creating the song, and then the money behind promo, and then every, like, photos, all this stuff, like, is
the stuff they don't see.
Yeah, it's a lot. You know, you think one song ends up being, you know, who knows how much. Like, we got lucky. We did. Let's see, if I just calculate right now, like, we did an EP, 5 songs. This was like 2017, so it was a while ago, and we got lucky because they charged by the song. So we paid like $500 for a 5-song EP. So I'm like, all right, that's $500, and then we paid another like $300 to make physical CDs, and then we paid, I think, like, another $300 or $400 for the artwork, because it was like a full panel. Like, again, also, like, some dumb stuff that we were doing because we, like, wanted to have a CD that opened up with the lyrics and had artwork on everything. So we paid like another, like, I think $300-400 for that. So we're already above $1,000 on 5 songs, you know, literally. Like, they were putting out, and then like, again, like, promo work behind it, the time it took to do that. And like I said, we didn't record it right away, so it took like a while to do this, and then, like, we put it out. We did an EP release show over, and then, but by the time we saved enough money to do that, the newest song on that EP was 3 years old. Right. Because we were just, like, scrambling to try to put this together, and we, like, couldn't have the money. So That's why, like, I think I do see the importance where people talk about, like, you know, rollouts and stuff like that with, like, albums and things. I was like, okay, there's a thing to it because you work so hard on this.
Literally, bro.
And then the world's attention span is just, like, not fucking there, you know what I mean? And I myself included. And I've noticed that recently because I'm like, dude, I can't stick to one thing because, and I know it's my scroll culture. Like, it's because, like, if I don't find something engaging within 10 seconds, I can scroll to the next thing. So, literally, I had to start reading like books, like physical books, so that I can only concentrate on this thing right now. Because if I read on my phone, I'm reading for like a minute, and then I'm like, okay, I have to have something playing, and over there I'm like, that's how I am. But yeah, it's tough being an artist, an up and coming artist, especially because, again, you're competing with all these other releases like coming on where people consider, like, you know, you're bigger artists releasing on this and that. So you have to figure out, how do we navigate through that? How do we cut through that noise? How do I get people to listen to this? How do I, this song's been out for 2 weeks. Like, how do I keep pushing it to keep getting promoted? What am I putting out next? Mm-hmm. Or people have been talking now with like promoting your back catalog. Have you like been doing a lot of that?
Man, yes, man. Like, just going back, like, you know what? This song, this, because a lot of my music now, I realized in 2022, it still fits like now. Yeah. So it's like, okay, you know what? Like, we got TikTok, we got Instagram, we got all these different platforms. Just put it out there. Like, even if you feel like in yourself,
this is old,
old as fuck, bro. Like, damn, like, but still, like, keep it going. Like, keep putting it out there, keep pushing it, because you never know. They haven't heard it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The world hasn't heard it. Yeah. Like, it's bigger artists that be out, and it's people who don't know who they are, and they're huge. So it's like, so imagine where you at. You know what I'm saying? If you're like me, an upcoming artist, like, you don't want to feel like, damn, nobody heard it or nobody listened. Man, it's a lot of people in this world, bro. Yeah. Like, you never know, bro. Like, just put it out, whether it's old, new. Like, if you really like it and you feel like this will work for me, then just do it. That's how
there's been like so many, like, on small and large scales that I've seen, just like these older songs just come back out of nowhere, you know. Like, there was the what was it? Oh, like when Stranger Things put that one song on, and that lady became like super rich, like over like Kate Bush is her name, but and then the thing that I loved, it was crazy, she owned like everything on that song. So she didn't have a label like that owned it, so she just happened to have her like masters and stuff like that too. And I'm like, yeah, this lady became rich like out of nowhere. But like, I've seen smaller artists where like, oh, like someone found an older song and just like blew that shit up, and now the artist is like, oh, that's fucking nuts. Like, this one just stuck around, you know, or someone just caught this one. But yeah, it just goes to see, like, people are discovering like new artists like every day, and like they don't know, like, initially when you listen to songs, like, I don't know when this came out, like, but you know, if you like it, that's all you know is like, I like this. But the cool thing and the good thing about putting out, I mean, because you put out quite a bit of music, like, in you know, not that long a time period. The cool thing is that with you, and I think it's a good strategy, is to have an actual catalog of music, because like it's happened to me so many times where I find an artist and they're like, I get the little snippet on TikTok, I'm like, this song is really good, and I'll go listen to the one song and I'm like, yeah, the song is really good, and I'm like, there's nothing else. Like, I'm like, and it's so upsetting because like, then it'll take forever for them to put out, and then again with the attention spans, it's hard for me to remember like, oh, like, what band was I supposed to check out? Like, they had one song, like, did they put out anything? And sometimes it's like a year or two before I realize, like, oh yeah, like I was supposed to like keep up with them and I forget. Again, because there's so much music. But like, I think building up a nice little catalog of music to have people who want more have the ability to get more, like, you know, right away. And yeah, like I think you have 4 EPs total, right? 4 EPs total. Yeah, that's going with another one like on the way.
Man, you just got to keep it going, man. Like, I'm at, because I know from my mind space now, I'm just at that point to where I feel like I just want to go. You know what I mean? Like, that's just where my mindset is at now. Like, just go. Like, whatever you feel, just do it. Just and have a great time doing it. I know on my end as an artist, it's more so like now, like, consistency towards social media. Like, that's where my head is at now. Like, all right, you got the music. Like, you make great music. Like, you know what you're doing. So put it out there for the people to see, like, as far as like your personality, which is why like I'm doing podcasts, you know what I'm saying? Like just trying different things, like just so people can get a glimpse of that, because I don't really talk much on social media. I might post here and there, but I don't really say, speak really. Yeah. So people can't, you want to make sure people can relate to you. Like you want to, they want to hear your story. They want to hear like, oh, okay, like same thing. Like that's why I like talking about being an upcoming artist, because it's like, bro, like, don't be ashamed of. I know artists who are ashamed of it. Really? Like, just like, man, I'm an upcoming artist. Like, I don't want to tell people to listen to my music. I'm like, well, you shouldn't be doing it.
You don't want it.
On my end, I have no problem with it. I love it. Like, especially if I'm, because I look at the things that leads to it. Like, okay, I just worked hard on this song, got in the studio, spent money, the whole 9 yards. Yes, I'm about to promote the fuck out this song. Yeah. And I can't wait to perform it. I can't wait to perform at these big venues, at the small venues, like this, that, and the third. So you have to put all that together and just be like, it's going to make sense. Like you have to keep that in your head. That's going to make sense, Yeah,
yeah. You really just do have to push yourself. You got to be your biggest fan.
You have to.
Straight up, like, you really just have to think of yourself in that way and be able to promote yourself.
Literally.
But yeah, that's honestly one thing you mentioned with like the personality thing. That is one of the pillars holding like the podcast up, is like, that's what I wanted. I'm like, yeah, dude, artists work so hard, like putting out their music, figuring out their visuals, doing whatever like they got to do to make their artwork thing. I go, and that's already a tough job. And then now, again, you're adding another title with social media now. It's like, okay, now I have to find ways to create content. But with this, I'm like, dude, I love the format of this, to be able to show people as they are. You know what I mean? It's like they're just talking. We're just talking. Like, again, like when we started, I'm like, I don't have like a list of questions we're gonna go down. It's gonna feel like informal. Like I want people to see whoever's in front of me, like how they are, like what their demeanor is, like, and create a pieces of content like off of this that you can use, that you didn't have to make. You know what I mean? Like you just came in here and had a conversation, you walk out, and then you have a bunch of pieces of stuff that you can share. Yeah, you know what I mean? That you didn't have to, create, pay for, do anything like that. Cause like, and that's one of the like my things where I'm like, okay, I can give back that way. Right. I'm like, yeah, we'll create some stuff and show people off. Some people, if people like, again, once you're gaining fans and they like, okay, let me go look this up. Okay, I got something that I can like listen to. Like if I really am interested, like in the story, and that, I have like a resource to pull from. Literally. And be able to listen. But thank you for coming on. Like I really, really appreciate it. Anything else you got on your mind right now?
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Genuinely, I'm grateful for it. And I want to say, people don't understand. Like you say, it's a gift what you do, man. To be able to come here and just do it naturally and just organic, I think that's crazy. Like that would drive me insane. I would feel like, okay, I need to ask this first. Yeah. So the fact that you can do it like this, like, bro, that's like so cool, bro. Like I just want to tell you that personally.
I appreciate
like,
that.
That's so cool. And as a upcoming artist, I just want to tell people, like, don't give up. Keep going. I know you're probably tired of hearing it. Still keep going, bro. Like you got one life. Like just go crazy. Like do exactly what you want to do. As far as on my end, also manifestation, especially being a creative and an artist, you have to do it. Literally, 3 years ago, I wrote on a small sheet of paper and I said, I'm going to be on the podcast. Yeah. So just imagine how this right here, for me personally, is like a full circle moment, because it's like you never know. You never know the time. You never know the day. Like just do it. Like keep going. Like talk to people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like network. Like do whatever you feel. Like if you feel like you're a true artist, like you have to take those steps, man. Like keep believing in yourself. And as far as on my end, I want to say Visionary Volume 3 is coming out soon. Nice. It will be out this month. My birthday is on the 28th, so hopefully I can get it out either before that or on that day. And just keep rocking out, man. Like, fuck what people say. Like, you can do it. Like, that's what I got, bro.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate that. I feel like that's a good, like, it's good for, like, artists to hear that, like, over and over from other, like, people on the same, like, journey as that. Yeah. So, no, hyped for that new EP. Let us know. We'll help, like, push and promote whatever, like, we can do to do that. But, yeah, thank you for being here again. Lenolavish. This has been episode 131. Yes, and thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.